couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, I don't remember how long ago this video was, I did like how to wear color as someone who only wears beige makeup. But I also thought what could be fun is to do like the polar opposite of that video and like put a ton of makeup on and do like a very intentionally bright, colorful look. I did do a little bit of a poll on Instagram just really quickly, and I gathered some information, and green and purple were the two colors that were the most popular, and then purple ultimately was the one that went out. But there is a palette that is coming out that I got in PR that is green focused, so we'll hold on green. We'll do purple today. If you want to do a makeup look where you're wearing more color than you used to and you want to go all out, just use makeup that you already have. I would not buy any new makeup. I will be featuring some things I've gotten in PR in this video, but it's not really about the products. It's like pick a color that you have a lot of and then really go for it. So probably for most people who have like beiges in their collection, I would have to imagine you have a lot of like rosy pinks and then do like a very intense rosy pink look would be my suggestion. But let's get started. I'm coming at this a little bit in the sense of drag. I'm really thinking of like 2016 style eyeshadow, which was very heavily drag inspired. So I'm going to do my makeup like a drag performer. It's not to say that all drag performers do these steps, but every time I've done drag makeup. So I'm going to prime and put foundation on my forehead, like up until like right under my eyes. And then we're not going to put anything here because we're going to be doing really heavy makeup. So the chance of fallout is much higher. I want to be able to like wipe that off with some micellar water before I proceed with the rest of my complexion. So we're starting with eyes, but we're starting kind of like with forehead. So the first product I'm going to use, I think for these kind of looks, if I'm going to be wearing a lot of makeup, if I'm going to be wearing like heavier makeup than I'm used to, I really want to go in with like something mattifying and smoothing. This is something I got in PR. This is from TONYMOLY. It's their Silky Smooth Balm. I wasn't really sure what this was when I selected it. I thought it was like a thick moisturizer, but it is in fact something very akin to the e.l.f. Putty Primer or the Tarte Timeless Priming Moist Smooth thing. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about, and if you don't worry about it. This has so far performed very similar to me to that product, the one from Tarte, because I've used that before, and I'm mostly just kind of focusing on the center of my head. It has a very silicone-y feel, so if you're not about that, this wouldn't be like something that I would suggest. Also, if you're not someone who needs this type of product or doesn't already have this on hand, you probably don't have it for a reason, because you probably have tried something like this at some point in your makeup journey. If you are like a makeup vet, you probably have been around the block enough times to be like, that's not the kind of primer for me. We're still working out the purge situation. I think we're on the other side of it. All of it seems to be healing now. Fingers crossed, everyone, that I'm on the other side of the purge. The other side of the purge. Have you guys seen that movie? I actually haven't. I'm familiar with the concept. But for my foundation, I'm still just trying to use the SURRATT Dewdrop Concealer. Maybe today will be the day. So I just pumped out enough to cover my forehead. I don't want it to dry on my mixing pad. I need to wash my brushes desperately, actually. Let's add that to the to-do list today. And I have been preferring the SURRATT Dewdrop Concealer as more of something to mix in with something else like Auric Glow Lust or just any of my primers, because it is pretty matte, but I think I want to go pretty matte with this look anyway, which is not the preferred way I like my skin to look, but I do kind of prefer, if I'm gonna go full out color, to have a more full coverage matte base. And that's not to say that not doing it this way is wrong. You can obviously do your makeup however you want. I just like the way that looks, kind of like completely blanking out the face and like coming back from that. That's what we're getting into today. It's not actually looking the best my skin has ever looked. I find that matte formulas on my forehead, if there's nothing else going on, they really get stuck into my pores, even though that's supposed to be a pore smoothing primer. But also keep in mind, no one should be that close to your face for them to see your pores like that, but it's just one of those things that you notice whenever it's like your skin. So just pointing that out, it's not normally the most flattering, which is why I think I have been also preferring glowy things. Most of the time I feel like glowier formulas are more forgiving to that. I don't know. Okay, so for purple eyeshadow today, I went through all of my eyeshadows and I pulled out this. This is the Smoky Glam palette from Bella Beauté Bar. I did receive this in PR. It is one of my favorite palettes from them, and they are releasing a mini version with magnetic pans soon. I don't know how soon, but they teased it. The shimmers will be revamped because I think that's one of the criticisms of this palette is that the shimmers aren't very good. I don't dislike the shimmers, but they're not as impactful as Bella Beauté Bar's current shimmer formula, so I can understand and appreciate that. I think the thing that I kind of found when I was going through my makeup collection is that I don't have like pure purple. This is, I think, something that leans a little more warm purple. But I think that's okay. I feel like we can definitely lean into that today. I might do like a cut crease situation, and I might add some more colors, but like we're focusing on purple. I'm probably not gonna focus too much on telling you the shade names because this isn't really like a tutorial. This is just like a moment for us to hang out and do our makeup together. And like I'm talking about some new things, but we're just doing purple makeup. We're gonna go with a little bit bigger of an eye shape today. I'm taking this transition shade, which is like a light lavender shade. Oh, I didn't prime my eyes. I set out everything to do my makeup and then I immediately forgot that I had done that, and then opened a drawer to get my eyeshadow primer, but it was right next to the eyeshadow palette that I intended on using. We're doing well. It's Saturday as I film this, and I went out for my friend's birthday yesterday, so here comes Pittsburgh stuff for people for people who love all the Pittsburgh stuff. I went to a new to me, I think it's also like a new restaurant just in the Pittsburgh area to celebrate her birthday. My favorite thing to do is to just take my friends out to a meal for their birthday and then maybe do additional presents as well. But just like spending time with them and going out to a meal is like my favorite thing. And honestly, if that's how people celebrated me on my birthday, instead of doing like one big get together, if like for a whole week I was just eating good with my friends out and having drinks, that's like my ideal situation. Like I would just love for that to be my constant for my birthday. So I did some research, looked at some Pittsburgh blogs, got on the Reddit, Pittsburgh Reddit. If you don't know this about Pittsburgh, and you might not because you don't live here, and that's okay. We actually have a really, really good restaurant scene here. A lot of good chefs here. Just like everything's great. And I'm sure like every city has good chefs. So I was looking for a place for us. My friend's Italian, like Italian, like homemade pasta only Italian. Or if you're buying pre-made pasta, you have to go to like the Italian store in the strip district, if you know what I mean. You go into Penn Mac to get your pasta. That means specifically to specific things to people who are from this area. I found this place in the north side, which the north side, I feel like the way it's discussed in the media and in the news is like it's like a, I don't know, scary neighborhood. And I think, you know, there are parts of it that are maybe would feel that way, but my thoughts on all of that, like the idea of there being like sketchy neighborhoods, has a lot to do with people acting a certain way when they're in a neighborhood that they're not familiar with, acting like it's a space that they belong, like that they belong in, not only that they belong in, but a space that they're not just visiting. Where like if I'm going to a part of the neighborhood or part of Pittsburgh that is like, if you just like act normal and just like respond to things the way that normal people respond, I feel like people normally leave you alone in those scenarios. And also, let us not forget that like most violent acts are done by people to people that they know that they have a grudge against. And to my best knowledge, I don't know anyone in those neighborhoods and they wouldn't have a grudge against me. Anyway, that's my thoughts on scary neighborhoods. Well, my favorite bookstore is actually in the north side. It's City Books. I started going there right before the pandemic to get like some cookbooks and stuff. And Arlen, who owns it and runs it most of the time, she has some employees, but most of the time it's her. She's so wonderful. So if you need books, I highly recommend City Books, and they will ship too. So even if you're not in the area and you want to support my local favorite bookstore, City Books. I'll link her down below. And also, don't forget, if you are someone who likes to read books, but you like Audible books or ebooks and you want to support your local bookstore, I think it's called bookstore.org. I'll link that down below. A lot of independent bookstores have like, I would say it's like almost like what we consider affiliate linking here. Basically, like you pick your local bookstore and then you purchase through there, and then your local bookstore gets like commission for that order. Arlen really likes it. So I'm also just talking about it to anyone who might be a reader who might be trying to move away from Amazon. That would be a good way to do it for as far as like books go. Your library, your local library, you can support them as well. If you're looking to make purchases, consider that. What was I talking about? Oh, the restaurant. How did we get into move your money away from Amazon rant? Found this place. It's called Alberta's Pizza, and it is this cute, very vibey, like wood oven pizza place. And it was so good. And the reason I was struck by it when I was like looking at, I think I found that restaurant on a blog. The thing that really was striking about it was the fact that they had like really weird, for a pizza place, appetizers and stuff. So there was a whole oyster menu. And I tried grilled oysters for the first time last night. I don't like raw oysters. It's like, why am I eating that? The grilled? That's a different story. I'm into that. Here I am. This is the thing. It's so great to try new things whenever you're in your 30s. I could have gone my whole life never having tried that, but I knew my friend liked oysters, so I was like, oh, she can get you know, we'll have oysters, you know, or she'll have oysters. I'll try one. But then I tried them and I was like, I'm having my share of these oysters. Don't you mind me? I'm gonna have some of these oysters. And there was like a lot of seemingly a lot of seafood for an Italian menu. And everything was so good. We had this pizza. I'll have to put the word I mean, because I've never encountered this meat before. But we had this pizza that had this thing on it that Kristen had just tried for the first time not that long ago. And it was kind of like a deli meat, but it's like a deli meat that's, I'll put the right description up, but anyway, the meat was very salty, and it was like on one of the pizza, like pepperoni, and it was so good. I love salty things. So much so, and like, it's a surprising way how much salt I can handle. And then when I tell you this, you won't be surprised, but like, whenever I was growing up at the dinner table, which we did eat dinner together in my household growing up, every night, we all had our own salt shaker because we were tired of passing around the salt shaker so much. But it didn't ruin like the experience of eating it. Like, it wasn't too salty. I did try a piece by itself and it was almost too salty that way. Now that I've encountered it on a pizza, I am left to wonder, like, if I encountered it presented to me as some other thing, like, or in some other fashion, if I would like it as much. Now I want to try more of it because it was so good. And we just had a margarita pizza as well. You know, we had to do tasting. The cocktails weren't my favorite. They weren't bad, but you know, sometimes the seasonal cocktail menu, it's just not your thing. Seasonal cocktails in the springtime, or like heading into the springtime, tend to be floral. Not that these were super floral, and the drinks weren't bad. I think they were made well. It's just they weren't my favorite drinks I've ever had. Well, I think I also maybe wanted the one drink I had to be a little fruitier, to be like a little sweeter, but it was very serious. And then we went to my other favorite bar, the Summit. I'm at Washington. Giving you some recs if you happen to be in Pittsburgh. That's my favorite place to drink because it is a cocktail lounge. I had a drink up there that was like a key lime pie, but with mint was the whole vibe. And it was so weird, but I did drink it. It was weird, and I thought I didn't like it at first, but I was very much like the Brittany Broski meme, like the original kombucha girl meme, where I was like, so it was a lovely night out in Pittsburgh. I can't wait to go back to that restaurant. It was so good. I mean, it's like expensive pizza, so it's not like something you could do like all of the time, but it was so good. Oh, wow. I haven't built an eye shape this big in a while, so I'm just really taking my time. Hey, Severance heads. How are you feeling? Let us know down below. I feel like we're now far enough out from the finale. If you haven't seen it, that's on you. Yeah, I don't feel like I should have to say spoiler alert. Although I'm not really going to say anything. I'm just curious, but if you haven't watched Severance and people are talking about it in the comments, be warned. As far as how I feel about Severance, I guess I'm not really sure what is the next season. My fear is that we might get away from ourselves a little bit if we keep going too much, and it will become a Lost situation, which I didn't watch Lost, but my general knowledge of people who watch Lost is that it like loses its way and gets a little too convoluted. But there was the writer's strike that happened. I guess I'm curious. Just like, do any of you, I don't know, what do we have left to learn? Or what else would we want to learn? Are we like looking for a happy ending? Is the happy ending taking down Lumen? Genuinely curious what your thoughts are on that. Because I don't know. Like, I'll watch another season, but I guess I don't want it to be like, I don't know. I don't want us to lose our way and what we came here to do. Them, the people who run that show. I love looks with negative space. And you know who's really good at them? Juniper Maeve. I will link her Instagram down below. She really takes the time. While I love the process of putting on makeup, I think I also have like a limit when it stops being fun. Like there's a point where like I'm sitting down and doing my makeup and then it's like, okay, I'm done. Okay, I'm done. I would like to be done. So like sitting there and doing like a lick would take a lot, I don't know. Well, one, it would take a lot of time and focus because it's like not always what I'm doing, right? That's the one thing I think you have to have a lot of patience for that. And I'm not like built for that patience anymore because I don't do that. But like she's out here really doing. And me, I would love to just throw on some brown eyeshadow. No, but I'm having fun. The thing also, I've mentioned this before, the thing about doing looks like this is like, they take a little bit of time. And then also like, what am I going to talk about? Because I'm not really like, just like hanging out. There's this dark purple shade shimmer. I'm going to take it along the lash line. Oh wow, it's really pretty actually. I don't think I've ever used that shade on my eyes. It's very pretty. I'm going to like also take a little bit of it up along the edge where to kind of like blend it into the dark matte purple. I think I do want to keep that negative space. I quite like it. I think I want to put a little bit of different shimmer like here, and then whenever my eyes are resting, you won't see that, but whenever I'm like being expressive, you would. I'm gonna use this shade from Odin's Eye for that. I don't know what it's called off the top of my head. That was like a hand-me-down from a friend. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, this is working out so well. Although, I mean, I think filling that with shimmer would have been also very cool, but I decided I like this weird oblong shape. Maybe what if I'm gonna keep going with a little bit of shimmer on the inner corner. It's a shade from Cleona that I don't know off the top of my head. Was that something? I kind of like that. There's just something weird about that. And I like it. That little weird shape. These cotton applicators, I guess, are a little strange. These are from Ulta. So it's like flat, round, but then like it's flat on this side. So like when I turn these are flat. And it has this like oblong shape. So it's like not the shape of like a regular cotton swab. It's kind of like weird. Beautiful. Sometimes we find a happy accident. I feel like this side is really cleanly cut. I feel like this one has a little bit more jagged edges. I'm gonna like try to clean that up a little bit. I think I made it a little bit better, but like this one is just much more clean. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, I'm gonna add some black liner to my waterline and tightline with it and put on some mascara. And then we'll move on to the rest of the face. I'm very pleased with how these eyes came out. I'm doing the same thing on the rest of my face for complexion. I might pull out a concealer for brightening that's different than the SURRATT Dewdrop. I keep wanting the last click to happen on camera. I don't think it's going to give me that gift. What are you guys listening to right now? I keep listening to Mayhem, so no news there. It's like one of my favorite things right now. Lady Gaga. But what are you listening to? What's new? I tried listening to the new Ariana tracks. I don't know. There's something just about this era that doesn't super appeal to me, but I didn't hate the way they sounded, but also they kind of all sounded the same to me as well. Like, is kind of where I'm at with that. I actually do think I need a little bit more. I do want to take it down my neck. I'm not wearing this anywhere, but just for continuity, for color, and keeping things, yeah, mostly for coverage. I was actually complaining about this concealer at dinner last night, and my friend was like, can you just throw it away? And I was like, no, I'm gonna finish it. Okay, but you're not really enjoying your time. And I was like, I know, I'm just so close. I want to feel like I've overcome something. You know, like I really want to feel like I want to be applauded for my efforts. From who? I don't know. Not you. Not really you. I just want to know how many clicks are left. It's like how many licks will it take to get to the Tootsie Roll Center or Tootsie Pop? I'm gonna do a little bit of the Refi concealer for a little bit of brightening because I do think it is brighter than this, but it's been a while since I've used this, so we'll find out together. Yeah, it's a little bit brighter. Not too much though, because this, I don't know. I feel like a lot of other people have a really good luck with this Refi concealer self-setting, but that has not been my experience. For me, it is Crease City under my eyes. It looks so gorgeous on the rest of my face, but under my eyes, it's not my favorite place. Okay, maybe a little bit more. So I'm gonna focus it more here. Maybe it's not brightening. Maybe it's the exact same color as the SURRATT. We're going for full coverage, so I'm trying to get there. Okay, and so now I'm gonna bake. It's been a while. I still think there's a lot of value in baking, but not for most people. But like, I think for a night out, baking is great. I think baking, I hope you all know what I mean by baking, but we're gonna take some powder and we're gonna, you know, bake the under eyes. Maybe that's something we shouldn't know about. Maybe the drag performers should always hold that. I'm gonna be using the Givenchy Prism Liquide, but the old formulation. And I actually have been using this powder a little bit more recently, and it honestly is working so well. I don't know, like my skin, something happened. My skin came into it, like we're really getting on. It's like blurring more than I remember it blurring, which is a shame, but also good because I'll use it up. Because I've been kind of like holding on to it, waiting for the magic to come, and the magic has started to come. I didn't know that it was an option for me because everyone else seems to love it so much, and like I never did. And whenever it got discontinued, I was like, okay. Although they're releasing a pressed version, I wonder if it will have the same shimmer issue that the new loose version had. I'm sure someone will review it. It won't be me. This concealer is pretty self-setting, but meaning the one from SURRATT, not the one from Refi. Okay, now we have some new products to talk about. So CoverGirl sent over a bunch of these Trublend sticks. So there's contours, there's a blush we'll be using today, and then there's highlights. I'm not using the highlighter today because it's relatively warm, but I posted these on Instagram, I guess when you see this a couple of days ago, and the lightest shade is green. This will be really great for people who have fair olive undertones. The response was very much excitement when I posted these. And so this is the second lightest shade. This one's called Sculpted, and that is more of a bronzer. I also feel like more in line with what they call contour at Sephora, like this just brown shade. It's gonna pull warmer on me. Anyway, I'm gonna actually take out what I usually use to contour so I can show you why I like that contour for me. My skin tone's fair and neutral. I have a little bit of pink in my skin, probably mostly from like the redness that I might have on, but like neutrals normally work for me. But something that my skin does, and I don't know if it's because I have that slight bit of pink, is everything, if there's like a warmth in it, it's gonna pull orange on me. So I tend to like things that have a little bit of a pink lean. So what I usually use for contour is this. This is from Ritual Defeat. It's the shade Intuition. So you can see how green this looks compared to that. This tends to look more like a natural shadow on me than something with that green. I find that whenever brands get close to doing like an actual cool tone fair contour or like a light contour, it normally has that green quality to it. I'm not sure what that comes from. Like, what does that stem from? Like, why is like light cool always green somehow? I don't know. It must work for most people because most brands do it. Like, I've tried a couple of the contours from e.l.f., not their newest liquid one, but the contour that came in the squeezy tube like Charlotte Tilbury products do. That one was a little bit green. It was okay color, but it was a little bit green. And I'm trying to like recall my cream contour video. I also tried the e.l.f. putty bronzer in the lightest shade that seemingly is only available on their website. And that was like a cool tone. It was a little less green, but still had, I feel, if I recall correctly, a little bit of green to it. So anyway, this is very, very common. So I'm going to try contouring with this. Word of advice, if you buy these. A couple of my products were loose on the inside, and the product really does only kind of like live in this top portion. Do with that information what you will. Let's see how many grams of product. But yeah, like every one I've opened like has fallen out so far. 0.21 ounces of product. I'll put on screen what you get in the milk one, how different that is, because the product is all up in the top here. I'm gonna try putting it directly on my face. This isn't how I contour usually, but okay, we'll start there. I don't want to put it all up over my face until I know how it blends out. Okay, it's blending out pretty okay. And it's looking pretty good. It's not looking too green on me, and that seems to be what happens whenever I've encountered these green leaning cool toned contours, is that they read okay on my skin, but I just think that the pinkier normally works really well. But I do feel That looks pretty natural. We're off to a good start. It blended out pretty well. Okay, okay. I haven't done full beat in so long. There is something super about it. There is just something about it. Also, when you start contouring and doing this part of your face, whenever you have full coverage foundation on, when you're doing these like larger than life kind of like draggy looks, there's just something to it. You start putting your cheek on and you're like, now who is she? And who would play her? One Drag Race quote, well, I guess it wasn't a drag race. I think it was something that RuPaul usually said on her podcast, but Trixie and Katya always say, who would play her? That's like, they haven't said that in a while. And I miss it. I like miss when they would be like, and who would play her? And who would play her? Who would play you if there was a Lifetime original movie? Well, I guess it wouldn't be Lifetime. You would probably want a real celebrity. I never know what to say to that question if like people ask it. Like, I don't know. It looks really matte on my skin right now, but I think that has to do mostly with what I'm doing with my skin, which is very different. But I will obviously try these, what I normally do with my complexion, and then I will obviously either show that to you on camera or report back to you on it. For this darker one that I'm going to use as a bronzer, I'm going to not draw it on my face and just take my brush. It didn't lift my foundation, by the way, but we'll see if that carries through whenever I do something that's a little more emollient. These are working better than I thought they were. And it wasn't that I was expecting them to not work. I was kind of expecting like to be underwhelmed by them, but I'm actually getting along quite well. I'm also just feeling super, and like that will do it. If a product I'm putting on makes like we're sculpting, I'm looking. Baby, who is she and who would play her? Y'all, I'm really feeling the fantasy. I guess the better question wouldn't be like who would play her, but like what's her drag name? Maybe my first name's Deb and my last name's Onair. Debonair, welcome to the stage, Debonair. Obviously this kind of makeup doesn't always indicate that someone's a drag performer, but that's just like the fantasy I'm feeling. So I also have the blush version of it as well. It's the shade Sweet Violet. We'll see how this goes. I'm gonna put a lot of it on. Well, maybe I shouldn't have put a lot of it on. We'll see how this blends. It's like I started putting it on and I was like, well, I like that. It looks like it's matching the eyeshadow at least. So that's good. Okay, so I think that my skin is maybe a little too set now because that did seem to be pretty difficult to blend out, but I do want more blush, which is something I very rarely say anymore on my channel. But it is blending out. It is getting there, but that was the toughest one to blend out. But it is also closest to where I have powder on my face, so that could also be part of the 1-2 punch there. I feel like it's trying to fight being matte, like it wants to be a little glowy. At least that's like that's kind of like what I'm seeing in like the lighting that I'm in currently. Baby, you just need a minute. I've also been listening to Marina's new single, Cupid. Stupid Cupid. The song. I can't think of the name of it though. I've been listening to it so much, but Cupid's Arrow? I think that's what it's called. And I really have been liking that. You may remember that I didn't really love the first single, but I'm gonna do a second channel video on both of them. What if this is me now? What if this is me now? I'm scared. Are you scared? Putting a little bit on top of the eye as well. Oh my god. Okay, wow. It's been a while since I've... Just there's moments when you're doing your makeup and you're like, we've arrived. For highlighter, this is the SURRATT Artistique highlighter in the shade Froufrou, which I did get in PR. I feel like I don't wear this highlighter that much, but it has been coming in clutch every time I want to do something like this. And it does seem that that is popping up more than it once did for me. Although it's not even like I could definitely use that for a regular look. It's purpley, but I don't think it's like too purpley. Makeup is so fun. Makeup is so fun. I love makeup. This is so fun. Has a beauty channel on YouTube and I'm like, can you believe makeup is fun? Can you believe? I'm probably not going to powder my face because I am doing double duty. I'm going to set the contour with a little bit of this mixed with this shade up here. And then I'm going to probably take a a regular powder bronzer, probably the one from Gucci, to set the, we're gonna like layer. We're essentially like underpainting, overpainting. Well, not technically underpainting. I didn't paint under my foundation, but you understand what I'm saying. We're taking it. We're taking it to a place. Taking it the house down boots, mama. I feel like if I came out as a drag performer, you guys wouldn't be surprised at all, would you? Except I don't keep those hours. Okay, I'm gonna take the Gucci bronzer and then do the same thing. That was the HINDASH Beautopsy palette, by the way, and I showed you the shades, but I used the shade Real and the shade Tan Lines to make a combo. I didn't do the contour on my forehead. I'm gonna focus that with the bronzer. I'm gonna use the Gucci bronzer in the fair shade. I don't want to scare any of you, but I am getting my hair cut next month. But it's not to really cut off length. I'm gonna lose a little bit. Up until this point with my hair, on my hair journey, we have yet to like cut it. So basically the way the back has been looking has been just like growing out. It's just been all grow out, which has been fine. If you recall, I had that like haircut where like it was disconnected, and so I only had the bottom part of the mullet from like here down. That hair is starting to get really long and look completely disconnected from the rest of the hair. So we're gonna shag it up, layers, volume, texture. So that is the plan, but I just want to prepare everyone. So it's going to happen and we're all going to be okay. Okay, and now I'm going to go into the Monochromance palette. I'm probably going to go between Antidote, like probably swipe my brush all the way through that, and then some in Heavy from Heavy Petal, because the purple on my cheek isn't like straightforward purple like that. It has some of that in it, just from what I can see in my own eye. I need to wash my Sigma switch. Sigma, maybe we don't call that. maybe we need to rename that. Wow, I'm so good at makeup. I just love makeup. I love makeup so much. Oh, this is taking me back, y'all. I mean, I feel like I was doing, maybe when people first started watching my channel, this was like maybe a little bit closer to what I was doing, but I was like kind of at that point really getting more into the luxury realm. So like it was this and it was slowly becoming, I think this changed the color of the blush maybe a little bit too much. Like it's a little bit not close. And that's okay. I still think it has purple in it though. So I still think we're on the right track. I am going to take my powder puff and kind of like try to subtract. I went down further than I went to. And then I'm going to take this Pat McGrath highlighter and put that on top of the other highlighter. Are you doing this look at home? Have you been able to follow along? Because I barely know what I'm doing. This is why these kind of looks where I just like, you're like grabbing for things and you're like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. We still have to do a lip. I'm gonna use the Mob N159 lip liner first. Then for all over my lips, I'm going to be using Water Violet from Ritual Defeat in their sheer, lip sheer? I think it's called the lip sheer. And of course, I'm going to top that off with the ISAMAYA Lip Lacq in the shade Metal. I'm gonna kick off, remember I was baking? I forgot. So I have a little bit of powder sitting on the center of my face. I'm just gonna wipe that away. And I am gonna use a little bit of Fix Plus. And that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Did you do a colorful look or was it just me? Were you hanging out? Did you have fun? I had fun. I mean, I clearly had fun. I feel like the whole video I was like, oh, like I was doing the eye look and I was kind of like, I don't know. Then I started putting on complexion product and I was like, you know, like that's just how I feel. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of a different look than I have done in recent times. Well, I guess I just did that blue look, so because that's so far away, but you know, doing more color. We're trying color. Color's in. Boring beige is out. Maybe it's just spring. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you happen to be new to my channel and you haven't yet subscribed, I would love to have you subscribe. Most of my channel is dedicated to helping myself and helping you not overconsume and being more discerning about the purchases you are doing in the makeup world. I'm on Patreon and I have channel memberships. You can find those linked down below. Over there, I do one additional video every single month, and you can do that or not. If you don't want to do that, or you simply don't have the funds to do that, no problem. I'm just so happy that you are here. I'll have some links in the pinned comment to help some different organizations that I find worthwhile to donate to. If you have the funds to donate to them and help them in any other way, please do so. Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to follow your hope and you'll find me. And I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. Tits out.